This is Washington Watch. I'm your host, Tony Perkins. So good to have you with us. The website, tonyperkins.com. All right, last week, President Biden announced that he had asked the U.S. intelligence community to redouble their efforts to collect and analyze information that could bring us closer to a definite conclusion as to the origins of COVID-19. And they are to report back to him within 90 days. Well, my next guest says we don't need to wait 90 days to get a highly politicized report from people who have gotten it wrong on China consistently over the decades. Joining me now with more is Gordon Chang, author of The Coming Collapse of China, The Great U.S.-China Tech War. He can be found on Twitter at Gordon G. Chang. Gordon, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much, Tony.
All right, let's start with this. Gain of function. I want to go back to the fact that it appears the U.S. was actually funding the operation there in Wuhan that was, as you described, weaponizing this virus. Is that true?
It certainly is true. There was an authorization from fiscal 2014 from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, which is Fauci's institute, to Eco Health Alliance, which is a New York NGO. And that money was specifically earmarked to be sent on to the Wuhan Institute of Virology for a study of bat coronaviruses. Now, Dr. Fauci, in his testimony before the Senate, said that it was not used for gain of function. But we do know, first of all, that Dr. Fauci has backed off from that. And also, there have been, Tony, research papers done from the Wuhan Institute with that money. And those research papers described experiments that can only be described as gain of function.
Explain very quickly gain of function for our listeners.
Gain of function is when someone takes a pathogen and makes it either more lethal or more transmissible. In other words, to take a natural pathogen and to make it more dangerous. Now, this is indistinguishable from biological weapons research. And that is prohibited by the Biological Weapons Convention, to which both the United States and China are parties. So really what was done in the Wuhan Institute by military researchers, and this we have learned from a number of people, is essentially that they were engaging in military research. And one other factor. In late January of last year, China sent its top biological weapons expert, as she is described, Major General Chen Wei, to head the P4 biosafety unit at the Wuhan Institute. And I believe, I don't know, but I believe that she was sent there to prevent evidence of a biological weapons program, as well as to clean up evidence of a lab leak, which is what we are really talking about in connection with COVID-19. So why would you send a military officer to do something which was supposedly civilian research? This really looks very, very bad, Tony.
Gordon, we know from the emails that were obtained under a FOIA request from Dr. Fauci that he had been alerted to the fact that this was not a normal virus, that it had been engineered. The president saying he's giving the intelligence community another 90 days. I mean, do you think that the administration would actually release the information that would suggest that China had engineered this virus? Are they sitting on this information?
I think they are sitting on this information. We know that the Trump administration declassified information on January 15th of this year. That was in the State Department's release. And they obviously have more information because Trump officials have talked about things which have yet to be declassified. So I believe that the U.S. intelligence community now has information that we could use. We don't need, as it mentioned, 90 more days. I mean, the assessment is not important. What's important is the underlying information, because we're Americans and we can figure this out on our own. And really, we need to do this because, unfortunately, we have a president who is not very interested in talking about the origins of the disease. He actually spent 2 hours on the phone with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in February, and by Biden's own admission, he did not raise COVID-19. This really is wrong.
Well, Gordon, if this happened on this occasion, and let's say following kind of the line of reasoning here, let's say there was an accidental release of a virus that had been engineered, what if there was an intentional release of a virus. I mean, should we not know what China is up to?
Well, we certainly should. There's a number of different issues. First of all, was this an engineered pathogen? Was this pathogen, if natural, was it stored at the Wuhan Institute of Virology? But the most important thing of all is something that we know 100%, Tony. We know that in December 2019 and January 2020, Chinese leaders took steps that they knew or had to know would lead to the spread of this disease beyond China. In other words, this was a deliberate spread of the disease beyond China's borders. We know that Chinese leaders lied about the transmissibility of this disease, and they were pressuring other countries to take arrivals from China without restrictions while they were locking down their own country. When they're locking down their own country, they thought they were stopping the spread of the disease. By leaning on other countries to take Chinese passengers, they knew they were spreading the disease.
Yeah.
So this was an incident, I believe, of mass murder, because as of today, we have more than 3.5 million people around the world have succumbed to this disease, including 596,000 Americans.
Gordon Chang, thanks for staying on this topic and holding our government accountable, for which they should be held accountable. Gordon Chang, thanks so much for joining us.